Ladies and gentlemen, this is Breaker, and I'm back with another replay that I just downloaded from the front page of Drop.sc. The upper right-hand corner, spawning as our Terran in the blue trunks, I give you a player by the name of Asuna. As you saw at the loading screen, he was a GM player, just like our other player in the lower left-hand corner here. Spawning as our barcode. I kind of wish I knew who he was just a little bit, but then again, if we did know, then we would know, basically what is precisely his, his particularly enjoyed strategies, things of that nature. Oh boy, misclicks, epic misclicks. They happen all the time. You have to be extremely careful when casting not to do that. I do that far too much, really. But I mean, professional MLG level casting, it's a 3-man job. It's a 4-man job once you look at it. So, yeah. Let me go ahead and flip the colors real quick, make sure everything's less confusing this way. It kind of creates an optical illusion. I mean, come on, look at this. This guy's not the red Zerg, this guy's the blue Terran, so I'm going to go ahead and Control X again, and we're good to go. Alright, now, our Zerg player is actually sending out his first Overlord to arrive here. And we actually have a very, I want to say, somewhat normal opening coming from our Terran. He's going to go ahead and throw down a Refinery. And I'm thinking he's going to follow this up with perhaps a Reaper. But that is an awfully early gas going down. I'm just a little curious as to what he's trying to do with that, but let's wait and see. Alright, natural going down for our Zerg player. Rather timely, and rather ordinary as an opener, if you will. Now we have 3 SCVs on gas, and the barracks is about to finish up. Looks as though there will be enough gas once it finishes to make a Reaper immediately, almost, and that's what we see. Alright, so the goal of this Reaper is not really so much to kill drones, but it is there to prevent, eventually, essentially, Lings from getting outside of the natural. Kind of using a new sound setup this time around. Got a microphone that will actually attach to the collar of my shirt now, so yeah. Tried casting with this earlier, and nobody had any really big complaints about it, so yeah. Here we go, the Overlord. Parked outside the natural. First Reaper is out. And the pool is about to finish for our Zerg, but he has no gas. I'm just a little curious. How exactly is he supposed to handle this if he doesn't have any gas? Well, let's just stand by and find out. 6 Lings in production, 2 Queens. Asuna, it looks like they ran into some kind of lag or some kind of issue that Asuna had to pause for. Reaper's just kind of standing there on the ramp, actually very, patiently, in a very, I wouldn't say illogical thing to do. But of course, now the Reaper has a full read into just what's happening here. I'm a little curious, did he actually see... I think he knows that there's no gas in the natural. If not, he's simply assuming that the south-located gas would essentially be... what's the word I'm looking for? Already taken, already harvested, or... maybe he thinks that perhaps Metabolic Boost is already being researched. Queen arrives to the party over here to essentially hold off against any Reapers, and this is looking a bit reminiscent of a Wings of Liberty opener. Double gas now going down in the main for our Zerg. Very interesting choice, really. And, of course, the old switcheroo for our Terran. Very classic one. Is he going to get that reactor? Oh, I was about to say, 2 Lings? Really? Going to get that reactor? I never would have thought. Almost happened. Almost happened. It was actually burning. The SCVs were idle. And we have our natural about to finish up and go down here. But do we have a 3rd command center? Yes, it is. So. Okay. This is all a game of paper... Well, I wouldn't say basically rock, paper, scissors, but this is something new that I basically learned earlier today, and it's kind of a pity considering I'm a Diamond League player. I guess you can just attribute it to all my mechanics, and that's about it. Because that's all essentially a Diamond League player is, good mechanics. 1 Reaper did just fall there. Yeah, 1 Reaper just fell there. And, looks like we're gonna have these Queens essentially spreading creep and working together to connect the natural to the 3rd. In that essence. But overall, it looks like we're gonna have the Reaper and the 2 Hellions that are already here, the 2 more that are going to join, bringing it to 4. They're gonna essentially be in a position where they can do a lot of damage in the next few minutes. Meanwhile, we have enough gas for our Zerg to go ahead and start researching Metabolic Boost. I don't think our Zerg has that, nor does he have the intention of getting it. In fact, he's going for a Roach Warden. I'm a little curious, does this Terran know? He doesn't know that there's even a SimCity there. A lot of damage was done to this third, even though it's not quite, you know. I want to say it could be sniped if a couple of double medvacs come down, but Misrallied Marauder arrives to the party. And now we actually see that a good deal of lings are being forced out of our Zerg's hand. I'm just, you know, does he have Metabolic Boost? He doesn't. This is going to be pretty tight. This is going to be really difficult to hold. And it's all because that Marauder showed up and threw essentially a wrench into the plan. Wow. I've never seen quite anything like this before. I mean, it's interesting to say the very least. I want to see that Queen target down the Red Hellion. He is, and it's not dead. Unfortunately, we have Slowlings coming in to deal with these Hellions. Behind us, Asuna, you know, getting his third established. He's doing a bit of damage here at this third, while simultaneously taking his own. Oh, and that's actually pretty big. A couple of drones got sniped there. 3, in fact, over the course of the entire game. Alright, so +1 melee, +1 carapace coming out, and roaches in production as well. What about, you know, is there anything else behind this? Are those roaches just getting made for defense? What's going on here? I don't quite see it. Okay, and now some Slowlings are coming in to clean up the mess. I'm thinking perhaps, just perhaps, this is some kind of a mistake by our Zerg. You know, he doesn't even have Metabolic Boost started. Does he even realize that? Meanwhile, Asuna following it up with Definitive Bioplay, of course, getting the 1-1 researched for infantry weapons and Carapace. Of course, tacking on the barracks count as well as the economy gets higher for our Terran. And creep just everywhere for our Zerg. Third is now getting fairly optimally saturated. Of course, it's also bleeding. Thankfully, hatcheries cannot bleed to death, but they will auto-heal, sort of, without transfuses. Meanwhile, the third is oversaturated, but of course that's assuming, you know, that's with the drones here getting rallied out. It would be more than optimal for our Zerg to go ahead and take gases, and that's exactly what he's doing. Roaches going in, and I'm thinking this is possibly some kind of a roach baneling bust of some sort. I mean, our Terran had to be looking into those. It looked like he was gearing up for that just a minute ago. But I do want to highlight that our Terran, you know, I think he probably knows that something's up, considering his opponent doesn't have ling speed this far into the game. It's such a basic upgrade. And regardless of your unit composition, it's one of the most essential ones you'll ever find. Range Marauders stimming up, trying to snipe in Overlord, and it looks like these roaches will be able to catch up in time to basically deal with this. But, oh, roaches are pretty slow compared to lings. And, you're gonna see these double medevacs go wherever. They could be split at the last moment, one going into the main and one going into the third, but it looks like no, both are going to go into the main at the same time. And with Slowlings here, you know, tanky Marauders and Hellions, I just don't quite see this working out too well for our Zerg. 5 roaches arrive to the party and a bunch of roaches here are waiting. But they get dropped over here just outside the range of the roaches, but it does pull their attention. They're concentrating on the queen, they get it. Are they going to stay around? No, they're not. Okay. So now the third is fully saturated, I want to say, for both players. But did we see any workers kills there? Just one more. Since that, oh, but here's why. There's another drop going down into natural. Wow, Asuna just all over this. I'm curious, is this a, you know, does Asuna have an alternate tag? Oh man, that Marauder got taken down. What about here? We also got more Hellions, Marauders, and Marines showing up over here. This is just, I would say, confusing in the utmost degrees. I'm still trying to read into just what our Zerg is trying to do for the late game. Of course, he's getting melee Carapace. Those are standard, those, you know, but of course, starting out slow with ling speed, I'm sure it was probably just some kind of mistake. Perhaps this is a new opener. It could be hard to say. Medevacs re-arriving here at the third. Not quite sure what they're all about. And this is just one of those absolutely twisted maps. It was originally integrated in with the, Kespa, and now it's an official ladder map. Just interesting to note, right? Meanwhile, for our Terran, he's got +2/+2 going down. Drilling claws being researched. 3 Widow Mines at a time being researched or being produced, and 3 supply depots coming out at the same time. Oh man, but was that? Oh man, that was an idle infested. I just kind of ran into that bio ball. I should be extremely careful here. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, those infested Terrans yanking those Widow Mines. Just beautiful work by our Zerg. But at the same time, I feel there's maybe just a little too many Marauders. No, he's gonna be just fine. There's no Banelings in the mix, but we see Asuna in a lot of trouble. At least presently with his then current reinforcements. But speaking of trouble, the third is under siege, and it looks like Asuna's not gonna stop until it is dead. Meanwhile, we got transfuses coming from the Queen, but it's just out of energy. And my god, 40 HP hatchery, extremely lucky. Looks like this Overlord was misclicked, meant to spread creep over the third, and these Zerglings have just been thrown away at these Widow Mines. Fourth base, double fourth being taken actually by our Zerg, and that was meant to essentially just... I don't know, I remember D9 doing a daily about this with the Maga. He says that it's okay if we lose this, because we still have this. But this is not cool right here. Double expoing for the third base is basically required, or excuse me, for the fourth plus base, because you're bound to lose one of them when you're facing bio like this, guys. I would say the Overlord spread could be better for our Zerg, but jeez. At any rate, we do have Asuna basically trying to clean up shop here. That's a lot of Marauders and Widow Mines. I don't think we're gonna see Zerg be able to hold this. He's still pulling a bunch of roaches into the game, and roaches are not the best units to use. But just as I say that, the ultimates are popping. The third gets just clicked on and it dies, and it looks like both fourth bases are still good to go. So you could say that if he pulls the drones at just the right time and puts them in the right position, he'll be good to go. No economic losses made. But the problem with these outer extremity bases is that they are extremely exposed to Asuna because they're closer and closer to wherever his medevacs will be moving out. Look at the third here. I mean, it's just such a short shot of a distance, if you will, from this third base. Spine crawler is being placed, but they're not going to be ready for this little marine movement here. And of course, the main force for Asuna is also moving out. The supply difference now is rather staggering for Zerg. He's got tier 3 tech. He just doesn't have the income to support it because a lot of his workers are stuck distance mining. He has a Baron fourth over here, but he's almost completely oblivious to it. He pulls a few Lings over here to take care of this drop. He does it successfully. There's a lot of Marauders here. We need to see some beautiful fungals for this to really work out for him. The third is going to get targeted down yet again. And meanwhile, it looks like those Lings were used beautifully, if not just altogether magnificently. Asuna, oh my god, has such a beautiful supply lead that is kind of crumbling before the might of those Ultralisks. It was just a bad engagement, really. Drones kind of got sniped there, I'm sure. Yes, 27 workers killed altogether over the course of this game from various drops. And it looks like Asuna's just going to have the hegemony it takes to assert himself wherever he chooses, whenever he chooses. He's everywhere. He's like an octopus. He's like a squid with those drops. My god, the fourth has fallen. That means the fifth is left exposed. The third is completely, like, non-existent. There's some workers stuck in, essentially, distance mining there. And now our Zerg is kind of coming back from this, but no, he's not coming back from this just yet. He's in a bad way in terms of income. He's just got 3/4 that of his Terran opponent. You're supposed to be ahead of your opponent as Zerg in both the versus Protoss and Terran matchups. Meanwhile, we just kind of have both ends of the map being split and dropped, and a couple of Marines just peppering away at this ultra mighty hatchery. Lings coming in, they're getting cleaned up. 2 Lings for 1 Marine, not a good exchange whatsoever. Meanwhile, drop going down in the main, and the main force over here is going to be moving into the third. It looks like the Lings on the gas here are being targeted, and yes, that's going to hinder the gas income a lot. Meanwhile, how's this going to be dealt with? I mean, there's a few Banelings that got pulled here. They didn't deal with the drop. They got pulled prematurely, and I think that was the last Ultras that just fell over here in the main line. We do have more and more lanes getting pulled along with some Banelings. They're trying to connect with a bunch of unburrowed Widow Mines. I'm wondering if they were unburrowed for mana or if it was simply a mistake. Meanwhile, the entire main army being stemmed left, right, left, right, left, right, and now the spawning pool is being targeted down. If that falls, with these 3 Marines essentially just peppering away as they please at it, then we're just going to see reinforcements basically non-existent for our Zerg. Meanwhile, the bottom right did fall. The 3rd was retaken at the 4th position. And there it is. The spawning pool has fallen. That means we won't be seeing any more lanes, and there's not enough income to really support Ultras. Half the income is the Terran opponent. This game is on limited time, guys. Beautiful fungal growth, but it's just not going to cut it, I think. The single Ultra going up here to the 3rd would be beautiful, but the whole time our Terran did not expo after this. Meanwhile, the 4th base, you know, this another medevac going into the main. It looks like the Bioforce there just got surrounded, and that's when our opponent calls out GG. He realizes just how exposed his investors are. He doesn't have enough fungal growth to take down this entire bio ball. That's GG, ladies and gentlemen. This is Breaker. I will see you guys next time.